Welcome to StreamLive Tampa, as we are at Baseball City here in St. Petersburg, Florida, for a different type of event. It's not traditional games like we usually do, like we were doing earlier this summer, the Florida Gulf Coast League, college softball league down in Lakewood Ranch. Today is a scout day for one of our sponsors, actually, GameTime Prospects, baseball organization. Actually also has softball as well. They started back in 2018. A gentleman by the name of David Sansom, former Armwood High School baseball coach, started a company called GameTime Recruiting, helping high school athletes on any sport, mostly baseball, in the recruiting process. And after being in business for a couple years, he started the travel baseball organization called GameTime Prospects. So what today is, he's got 50 to 60 high school baseball players that are a part of GameTime Prospects, going through different skills videos. There are 4 fields here at Baseball City. What we're going to show live mostly is the hitting portion. It's the field that you'll see in the background. Initially, we're probably going to get everything started at 8:30. A lot of the guys are getting warmed up on an adjacent field, getting stretched and getting their arms loose. They'll come up and hit. We have a list of everybody. We'll talk briefly about each one. We have cameras set up to where the pitchers are going to be thrown as well. And in doing so, also not only just live streaming this, so everybody can see, all of these are going to be recorded by our equipment and a couple of cameras from David Sansom himself, so that there's enough angles and enough footage that is recorded and then edited afterwards to make an actual skills video for each of these high school baseball players to send out to college coaches as part of the recruiting process. So these kids today are actually going to be of different grades in high school. You're going to have the 2021s, which are upcoming seniors. A lot of them are going to go first. Then you'll have the juniors coming up, the 2022s, the 2023s, which will be sophomores. I think there's the youngest GameTime Prospects team is here too, or at least some of them. I saw some of them, they look like they were younger, so they might be the 14U team. They might be here just for to help out or just to get an early start on it. But this is primarily for juniors and seniors to be, as far as the recruiting process. That's really when it actually truly starts. So we'll show different angles, like I had said earlier. Everybody will hit that are hitters, or actually that are not pitcher only. So David actually has a couple of his coaches that are assistant high school coaches in the area that coach his teams throughout the summer each year. So they'll be out helping facilitate a little bit. We'll probably pull Dave here at some point and talk to him a little bit. But we're excited because this is summertime. It's not only a strange year, obviously we all are encountering that, but being able to show something like this for these young baseball players, help live stream it, in doing so, a lot of college coaches out there can't attend events right now because of an extended dead period by the NCAA. And there's plenty that I know, that Dave knows, that I also follow on Twitter, and you can see them. A lot of them are having to sit in their offices at school or at home, and they're showing it, and they're watching streamed games. So this is a little bit more of a controlled format. So there won't be actual games, like I said. It'll be more of just showcasing skills, and just they'll end up being edited to about a minute and a half video that each kid can use in the future. But we're excited to be here. Rick Farron, tournament director here at Baseball City. We'll try to get him on to talk a little bit about his complex, his events that he has here and will have. I know we were talking downstairs earlier about about coming over and streaming some games here before the end of the summer, and even maybe into the fall, as these kids and just about everybody else goes back to school here soon. And it's take each step slowly, with high school athletics coming back into play in the fall, and then the traditional spring sports like baseball and softball. Hopefully they can get started their respective high school programs back in January. But again, with everything going on this year and the shutdown and the lockdown of society and stuff, it is nice to see things slowly coming back this summer. A lot of these guys out here have been playing in some tournaments. I know myself, overseeing the Game Time softball side of the organization and the tournaments we've been in, the tournament directors and the people from respective cities and counties, they've all laid out specific guidelines for everybody, and so everybody can be safe and that the games can go on. And I know I haven't seen anything or heard anything that's prevented that from happening, as long as everybody does what they're supposed to do, and then just remember, hey, they're out here playing, and go from there. So it's the same thing here with Rick at Baseball City. Lot of signs on where to be, where not to be, guidelines, what to practice, and things like that. But you look past all that stuff, and you just see a bunch of high school kids out here playing baseball. I mean, that's really what it is at the end of the day. And safety concerns and stuff like that, kind of everybody just does what they're supposed to do, and nobody talks about it. You don't really hear about it, think about it. It keeps it pretty pure when games and kids can get back to playing and stuff like that. And just like coaches that I've spoken with are eager to get back out around their players and stuff. So also a part of Game Time Baseball, and soon on the softball side with Game Time Prospects organization, the owner and founder David Sansom has partnered with Rhapsodo. It's technology that it collects data on players, from velocity to spin rate to anything like that, to just get as much information for these kids to share with college coaches when the time is right for them to start getting recruited and go through that process, because it is a very long process. But I was looking at some of the equipment downstairs and reading some of the information. It's interesting stuff. My personal opinion, it's nice to have. I don't think it's end all to be all for this. It's still, what's this kid's approach when it comes to the plate? How do they react to mistakes? How do they react to good plays? Are they good students? Are they good teammates? Are they recruitable people instead of just a bunch of numbers? But it is good added information for them. But I don't think it should be replaced by what a ball player does on the field, or even off the field for that matter. So, but it is good to have, and that'll be part of the Game Time Prospects videos after they're done. That's all done after the streaming today. But it sounds like we'll get started about 8:30. I see a lot of guys in the cages lining up, getting ready to hit, getting some swings in. Our puppet master, Javier Nunez, is a little different because we've got cameras on multiple fields, but we don't have to follow actual games, so we'll just kind of bounce. The footage you'll see will be primarily hitting on field 3, and then on adjacent field with the pitchers, they'll be set up behind the pitcher, show movement on the side to show mechanics. So everybody that's watching this, and hopefully there's plenty of coaches watching. I know it was sent out through social media. All of our streams go live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and even on Twitch. So it would be helpful for these kids. Obviously, if there are college coaches watching, that'd be fantastic. I know David and myself had promoted it pretty heavily on Twitter and social media, other social media outlets. So, but looking at the list here, there are kids, 21s, seniors to be. Looks like there's 6 2022 players, which are going to be juniors, and about a handful of kids that are going to be sophomores. So talking with David earlier, try to keep them in order. So when we say them, you will see a graphic, a headshot of them, their high school they play for, and position as they come up. And we'll get David once he gets situated and the format gets started. He'll come up. We'll talk a little bit more about his organization and partnering with Rhapsody in this day and the intention of this day. So we're gonna take a break right now, and we'll be back in a little bit.
You hear it? No? Yes? I'll walk out here. You got that one. What about now? All right. Where's Donovan? You hear me? Good?
All right, we're back here at StreamLive Tampa. We're going to get ready with the hitting portion of Game Time Prospect Scout Day. David Sansom, the owner and founder of Game Time Prospects, and one of his coaches for the summer, Demetrius Heath. They're getting the Rhapsody exit velo and different analytics that this thing can capture set up for the hitters. Well, there's about 40, 50 hitters. We'll talk about them briefly, where they go to school, they'll hit, and then there's also being filmed on an adjacent field is the infield portion as well. And we'll get David here once he gets this set up. We'll get David Sansom to come on and talk with us, as well as the owner here at Baseball City here in St. Pete, Florida, Rick Farron. We'll have him come on here in a minute too. So while they get everything set up, hitters getting ready, simple BP. Again, this day is set up for mostly the 2021-2022 classes that are going to be juniors and seniors to be. As school starts back up here at the end of this month. And then these will be edited into skills videos, probably a minute, minute and a half in length. And each kid can distribute them to college coaches at their leisure. We are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and even on Twitch. And we're down here by one of the dugouts, as you can hear a family member. So we'll announce each one, who they are. And you'll get to see some BP. Something a little different. We'll do some interviews today as well. All right, our good friends, one of our sponsors is Game Time Prospects. One of our sponsors here, StreamLive Tampa, and I've known David a long time and used to do these skills videos in the past. That's how he and I met about 4 or 5 years ago when he was head coach at Armwood. So I was helping him, and one of his coaches was going to throw BP here, Demetrius Heath, getting everything kind of facilitated and who's hitting what, and because there's about 35-40 guys right here that are going to be hitting. The first hitter is going to be he's from Bloomingdale High School, outfielder Donovan Dubison. I was talking with him a little bit earlier. Plays for Coach Wilkin right there in town in Valrico, where I live, and we had done one of their games earlier before the lockdown back in March. It seems like an eternity ago. A game they had at Leonard. But Donovan is a senior to be. He will lead off once they looks like they're unwrapping the baseballs. So we'll show one batter at a time. Then I know in another field they're doing infield. That can be streamed as well. But those are mostly going to be filmed and recorded later. So a little bit of a late start. I know we advertised 8 to 12 that we would be streaming this today. But just getting some stuff set up and getting the guys here on time and getting everybody loose and ready. You don't want to just rush them out there because this is filming skills videos, which will be edited afterwards. Sometimes this is it's a good door opener in the recruiting process. They can send off the coaches. So you want to make sure that the players are ready and ready to go. And I can tell you, Donovan, he's leading off here. He's got his game face on. I think he's ready to go hit. All right, so we got our first hitter. Again, Donovan Dubison from Bloomingdale High School, class of 21. It should be about 10 to a dozen swings that these guys will get. That's really all you need to. Once Donovan got into a groove, he was okay. He was getting under a little bit too much. Next batter is Nick Clark from Sun Lake High School. Next batter is Ken Weber from Sickles High School. All right, so we had a switch, if I'm mistaken. This is Ken Weber now. Before, it was Derek. And now we got Simon Nuck from Newsom High School. How about now? Right now we have Eddie Derafet from Osceola High School. We are 6 batters in. There are 27 players in the 2021 class prospects today. Again, they'll take about 10 swings. There's cameras set up when you do a skills video. Opposite side, so somewhat angle for a right-hander, and then obviously the opposite for a left-hander. Just shows mechanics, basic mechanics, any power in their swing. All coaches will look at it and project what they can do with them in the future, what upside they have. Philosophy is All right, again, this is Game Time Prospects Scout Day. Basically filming skills videos for all of their players in Game Time Baseball organization. This is Jim Delaney with StreamLive Tampa. We're out here filming. Also, these are going to be edited too afterwards by our puppet master. He'll be one of them, Javier Nunez, a fellow co-owner of StreamLive Tampa, as well as the founder and owner of Game Time, Dave Sansom. So what today's day is, and the purpose of it is, as it nears the end of the summer and these kids go back to school. These are all high school baseball players from different high schools in the Tampa Bay area. Today they're individual skills showcasing, simple stuff. 10 swings here, batting practice. They do some infield skill work, some outfield. The pitchers will throw. There are some pitcher onlys out here, but even if they play multiple positions, they'll throw some. And I think we'll have that streamed as well after the hitting portion. But each of these players will get an individual skills video edited from the footage today that they can send to college coaches and use as a good door opener to introduce themselves via email, social media, stuff like that. Start some conversations with coaches. I know the Game Time Prospects organization started 2018. It spawned off of gametimerecruiting.com. And then when David Sansom started some travel baseball teams in the summer, he started with 2. I think there are now 8. The key stat that he's very proud of, as he should be, is 100% success rate of every player that's played for Game Time Baseball has received some sort of offer, small, medium, large, to go play baseball after high school at the college level. So between Dave's hard work behind the scenes, instructing these kids on what to do instead of just sitting back waiting to be found, you pick out schools that you want to go to, that have your major, that you're comfortable being at, because baseball in any sport, it's just a bonus. And then he's been an integral part in helping them negotiate offers, steer them kind of down the right path, help the parents out when it's time for them to get involved when it comes talking about money with a college coach, because there's not a lot of money available in non-revenue generating sports like baseball, softball. So the better you are as a student first before student athlete, the more money you can earn in your scholarship package. So this is just the beginning step, even for somebody that's going to be a senior, like these kids right now that are hitting. They have a lot more time than they realize. It's only August before they start their senior year in high school. So once these videos get edited, then they can use them at their leisure as they head into their senior year and contact some college coaches. And I know there are some kids down here. There's one kid, is Derek Elisier from Sun Lake High School. He just graduated as a 2020 back in May, and he is leaving this afternoon to go up and visit a few schools up in the Northeast. Actually, I think the one today was up in Chicago, but he was telling me he's got another small school outside of Boston that he had been talking with the coach as well. So it was a perfect example. I mean, it's August after he graduated high school, and small private Division III schools, they can sign kids and have kids come on late or have them come on as preferred walk-ons and earn some more scholarship money once they're there. So it was good to see him again, because we had a Sun Lake game back in March before the lockdown. So batting now is Jacob Huff from St. Pete Catholic. not far from here. Again, we're at Baseball City here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Today is Game Time Prospect Scout Day. And you're seeing the batting practice portion of today's individual skill sets that these kids are showing off. Again, I was telling all these guys too, hey, two things. You're going to get about 10 good balls. Coach Meat's going to throw you a good BP. Swing at them hard, just like in a game. They all took BP to get loose in cages before, but you have to really get into the mindset of, hey, I'm up at the plate in a game. But the one thing I'd like to see is guys going the other way too. So if they're getting a pitch outside, they're tagging it to right center if they're a righty, or hitting the 5-6 hole if they're a left-handed batter. So it's not all pull. It's not a lot of fly ball only either. I know that's a sexy trend in hitting. Hitting instruction now is keeping the ball up in the air and getting it over the outfielders. I'm seeing a good blend of both. The line drives in the hole, line drives in the gap, and stuff like that. So, college coach looks at a skills video and they get thousands and thousands of them. So it's not just, hey, what's this swing is? What's this kid's swing like? Yeah, some jump off the video screen more than others, but it just initiates the conversation, and then it's basically up to the student athlete to stay in touch, show interest, don't sit back, wait for coaches to find you. Every college coach that I've talked with over the years, as well as David Sansom has talked with, they're all like, hey, a lot of our kids we've recruited because they found us. Especially when you get to that small and medium-sized schools. There's over 1,600 college baseball programs in the country. About 300 of them is what you see on TV. So a small percentage is the Division I level. And plus, with this year, the extension of the dead period for Division I coaches, and it's even affecting some Division II programs. They can't get out and go to games and actually, see kids play. So having a video is really important right now, and also for student athletes to stay in touch with coaches. Let them know how you're doing. Let them know how you played in a tournament, or what you're doing to get your body right. If it's the fitness end of it, ask good questions. Those are things that. I know when I was involved in the recruiting industry, and same with David Sansom with Game Time, is you're advising these kids on making sure they understand, to empower them to ask questions, talk with coaches, and keep the conversations going and keep them fresh throughout their high school years. It's not just a one time only, hey, that's the only time I get a chance to talk to this coach. No, you email with him. You got Twitter. You've got all kinds of stuff, and that's what Game Time brings to the table besides just product on the field. I know we had David on earlier in the summer when we were doing our talk shows via Zoom. First thing he said, he goes, hey, we're not about just going out and winning tournaments and winning trophies. He goes, it's about getting these guys good game reps, where there are tournaments that coaches are at. This year it's mostly NAIA, Division III, and the junior college coaches, all fantastic levels. He makes sure that his teams, these Game Time teams, are at the right tournaments where those coaches are for the relative age group, of course. And he's got a couple of them out here. I know Coach Heath was coaching at Tampa Bay Tech for a little bit. Coach Garrett Nance used to play for David Sansom at Armwood. He's now one of the assistant baseball coaches at Brandon. Garrett's a good friend, big supporter of StreamLive Tampa as well. These guys, they like keeping it realistic for these players. Part of that is conversations with them, and hey, when it is about talking to coaches, what you want to say. Now we've got Alex Warner from Robinson High School. Had a little break there with BP as everybody had to go shag some balls in the outfield. Yeah, it's interesting. I was just talking about Garrett Nance, who's one of the head coaches of one of the teams, the Game Time teams each summer. He's an assistant baseball coach at Brandon. He was super excited to hear that we had started Game Time softball this summer. He's like, man, I want to come. I want to come to games. I want to come to a practice. And we were talking. He was asking me, because you see something like this for the girls in the future? I said, yeah, absolutely. We're not at that point yet. These girls are still young enough, but I would say next summer at the earliest, and get something started for those that want to pursue playing softball after high school. But it was nice to have Garrett want to get involved on the softball side. Next up is our first catcher hitting. The reason I know that is we're going to have the catchers hit first. And this was the first kid that came right up and says, I think I'm hitting first, right? This is Connor Russell from Dunedin High School. Now, having filmed catchers in the past, their big part of a skills video is their pop time, which is basically when the ball hits the mitt, when they receive it, and then when it hits the mitt, when it hits the glove, when they throw it down a second, what that time is. That's the big thing, that the first thing as far as the catching position that college coaches will look at. If you have a catcher that can hit, that helps too. And then, of course, you have the intangibles, how they work with pitchers. Catchers typically are good leaders in a dugout, off the field, on the field. I know I've always looked at that position that way, and other coaches I've known over the years, the first thing they look for, how vocal is that catcher? And just talking with Connor for a little bit, he seems like a take charge kid, so I'll be interested to see his skill sets on the defensive side when he puts on the gear. Next is Braden Saunders from Seminole High School here in Pinellas County. Again, we're at Baseball City at Walter Fuller Complex in St. Petersburg, Florida. And this is Game Day Prospect Scout Day. Looks like there's about 50 high school baseball players out here that play travel baseball in the summertime, and some into the fall for Game Time prospects. Most of these teams end in the summer when they go back to their respective high schools. They typically stick with their high school program. This year's a little different, possibly because of the lockdown, with everything in schools being off since March and high school athletics being shut down. Typically there's fall high school baseball leagues that they can play in. They also get into some fall tournaments that the fall teams do at the high school baseball level. So it'd be interesting to see how that transpires, where they can get on fields if that happens. I know living in Hillsborough County and following Hillsborough County Public Schools, and know ADs and different high school coaches myself, it is one step at a time. Everybody's going to try. Let's see how football goes. Get that slowly back going, and volleyball and the other fall sports, and seeing how that can happen. But there is a chance that fall high school baseball won't happen in the traditional format where they would play in some tournaments. They play at USF. They would play a tournament, usually a wooden bat tournament at Steinbrenner Field, where the Yankees have spring training. I know they've gone to UT, St. Leo. There's been different ones in the past, and I think this year you could see some high school teams just playing simple travel tournaments. Maybe one way is the high school baseball staff to keep the players together, and I'm always a big proponent of that. For the most part. So but we'll see how that happens over the next month or two. So this kind of winds down the summer, this day for Game Time Prospects baseball. I know on the softball side we have one more tournament here in a couple weeks that'll end our summer season, and then we get rolling for fall and let the girls keep their skills up and keep some practices going, and also have to see what the high school softball season is going to look like in the fall. That doesn't sound promising, but we'll see. So speaking on behalf of Game Time Softball, we'll definitely keep girls sharp and strength training. There's all kinds of stuff we have lined up. But the most important thing is getting the kids back to school. So next up is Kip Kuchera from Riverview High School. Now, Riverview High School is looking for a new baseball coach. Coach Stahlbarmer just stepped down from that position this summer. Took on a new position with an academy. The name slips my mind right now. A new academy in the Tampa Bay area, similar to an IMG-esque type format. So we wish him the best. He was always nice to work with when he was back at Brandon. And one thing I was, I'm next to my partner Javier Nunez here, and I'm laughing because I know he's listening to this. But I was down there talking with the baseball players, just getting them ready. This is what the format's going to be like. Just trying to help out, and the coach and me just make sure everybody's ready. And I looked at him. I go, guys, I don't see a lot of stirrups. And they said somewhere like, yeah, we like stirrups, but it's hard to. Almost all pants that we buy are long pants, not the shorties. But I noticed this kid coming up now down there, and I looked. I go, man, you got good stirrups. He says, yeah, I love them. I believe this is Shane Jones from Oviedo High School. That's outside of Orlando. And he just had the biggest grin on his face. And I told him, when I was telling all these guys that I run the Game Time softball side of the organization, I said, we just got the girls two sets of stirrups, and they're going to start wearing them at the next tournament in 2 weeks. They're black with orange stripes and orange with black stripes. And I was showing them a picture like, man, why don't we get those? And I said, see what the girls are going to look sharp out there. But I definitely know this kid's he's got the old school baggy short pants, and it looks like he's done the even more old school thing is tuck the pants. I know I used to have to do this. Tuck them under. You roll your stirrups under your pants. And next up we have Elias DeJesus from Spoto High School. Yeah, also good to see gentleman throwing batting practice today. He was happy to see me out here too. I hadn't seen Coach. They call him Meat. His name's Demetrius Heath. Out here throwing BP. He's coached high school and traveled for many years in the Tampa area, and I think he was at Crest for a while under Eric Beattie. He was the head coach at Tampa Bay Tech for a little bit. I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't hope Coach Fryer is not going to call me out on this, but I think he was helping Mike out at Plant City High School recently. I'll have to check. Well, I'll have to ask Meat myself, but the old-fashioned rubber arm, you know, solid BP. It's hard to find a BP. I gotta throw BP. I know Dave posted something on social media earlier this week, and the thought crossed my mind. But I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to. I'm gonna be with Cofier a lot. But I got her. I said, did you find some arms for BP? He goes, yeah, Meat. That arm will never fall off. It looks like on a adjacent field. I believe we have a camera over there. They'll do more infield. They'll do more infield skills after BP here. And then looks like outfield. Looks like Coach Nance is out there swinging a fungo. As those are being filmed, and again, these videos will be edited after today's action and dispersed individually to these kids so that they can send out to college coaches. Just a small part of that process that has many moving parts, and with this year's activity, college coaches really have their hands tied. It is not easy for them in a normal year, normal situation, working with budgets, especially in a non-revenue generating sport like baseball, and softball as well. They really like to be contacted by the players. It's good to have good organization leaders that can initiate conversation when that can happen. Great to have contacts like that, but college coaches love to hear from the kids. And a skills video is part of it. And now with the spring seasons were ended shortly this past spring, in the NCAA granting a fifth year of eligibility. So you have players that are coming back from this past spring that might have graduated, or you've got some that are coming back and going to redo their sophomore year or their freshman year. So the numbers really get thrown for a major loop for college coaches. So kids coming in to college have to be even more open-minded with opportunities. And I know I can tell you personally from the coaches that I've spoken with, and just watching the recruiting game over the years, from my involvement in it in the past, and just kind of watching it from afar now, and starting to help some other people that I know, girls that I've used to coach that are about to be seniors, and then having conversations with these guys here, is that junior college level is really attractive right now. Honestly, probably in any sport, but baseball, there's over 500 junior college baseball programs in the country. If you're lucky enough because if you play high school and travel baseball in Florida, doesn't mean you can play college baseball in Florida. But if you're lucky enough to stay down here, it's a very competitive route, and really good chance that you're going to go from the junior college level to a 4-year program after 2 years. But that can be like that anywhere as well. Talking with different junior college coaches in Georgia and Ohio and Illinois and anywhere outside of the state, and Texas and stuff. It's the same thing. Go there for 2 years, work on your game, work on your body. You get acclimated to a smaller college school atmosphere, and a lot of 4-year schools. You look at those rosters and you do some research, you see quite a bit of junior college transfers on there. So I think right now especially that class of 2021, unfortunately they're kind of getting squeezed out by the numbers with the returning players and eligibility wise and stuff. Just from speaking with different coaches and just different people in the game, whether it's baseball or softball, they're all saying the same thing: is, hey, entertain that JUCO route. So we got here. This is Anthony Anselmo from Nature Coast, following a high school teammate, Colin Nelson, who I met before the game. And also Demetrius Bundick from Tampa Catholic. I know you're seeing their names and headshots of them before they hit. And that is many hours of work last night by Kafier and Nunez. Anything that you see here are at his fingertips. But this has been a fun venture for us. He kind of did this as a hobby a little bit, but was really passionate about it. And then we just reconnected back in December or January. Started talking and did the legal things right, make sure get a proper business name and all that stuff done with the state and everything. And then we started doing some high school games, and we've got some great partnerships. I know we had a good partnership with NFHS, National Federation of High Schools, talking to our contacts up in the Atlanta area, even before everything was shut down in March. And I reconnected with them over the summer just to stay in touch. But there's avenues that we can work with them through their platform, because I know a lot of high school gyms and football stadiums have NFHS cameras, and it just comes to educating the communities and everybody and what we're doing. And then we had that fantastic opportunity down in Lakewood Ranch in Manatee County earlier this summer at the Florida Gulf Coast League. The inaugural college softball season, it was raving success. They've already added another team. I saw that on Twitter. They added the Sarasota Circus. The founder of the FGCL, Ryan Moore, had shown me that logo near the end when I was doing some PA announcing for the All-Star game and the championship game. He showed me that on his phone. So I thought that was kind of cool. Some potential owners been in touch with for next year in that FGCL. It's a lot of good stuff happening at StreamLive Tampa. A lot of good opportunities to just give exposure, like today, to David Sansom's GameTime Prospects organization. Like I said, there's about 50 high school baseball players out here, anywhere from incoming freshmen to seniors to be, and then, like I said, even the one that actually graduated in May, Derek Elisier, from Sun Lake High School. So David's done a lot of hard work over the last few years to get this up and running, give kids opportunities to play and develop. It's the biggest thing that you hear is, hey, just keep developing, keep getting better. Kind of hear that stigma hanging over the travel sports world is got to go get seen, got to go get found. It's not only about that. Get yourself better. Develop, get with a good organization that you can play and practice and develop your skills and play with and against better competition. And that's the name of the game, because there's a lot of really great ones out there. But David's done a good job with his baseball teams. And when I approached him late last summer, targeting this summer, about getting softball up and running, and we're doing that. We've got about 15 girls playing on one team right now, and the goal is to have a couple teams for next summer, and flash that orange and black out there. And it's kind of fun to see it on baseball players here. I'm used to seeing it with our softball girls. So yeah, Dave's been a big help. Helping myself get the softball end up and running this summer. Again, we are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So be sure to follow us on those social media platforms. Retweet, like, share, subscribe. It's free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go onto YouTube. You can watch all of the games that we streamed this summer from the FGCL, the high school games that we had done before the shutdown in March. I know we had started doing basketball then. There's been a couple local high school football coaches that have contacted us about how to partner and have us stream their games. Let's think about it. It looks like fans will be allowed at football games, so better opportunity to live stream these games so everybody can see it, friends and family members locally and abroad. After that second break for everybody to go shag balls in the outfield, we have another catcher from Sickles High School, Chase Conville.